Not for you, sweetheart. You are getting a little too chubby. It is not good for you. My mother-in-law said those words to my 7-year-old son while handing ice cream cones to all of his cousins. 5 children standing in a row at the park, 5 eager faces waiting for their treats, and my son was the only one whose hands remained empty. I was not there when it happened. I had stayed home to catch up on some work while my mother-in-law took the grandchildren to the park for the afternoon. It was supposed to be a fun outing, a chance for the cousins to play together, a break for the mothers who needed a few hours of quiet. Instead, it became the day my son learned that his body was something to be ashamed of. I found out what happened from my niece Emma, who was 9 years old and old enough to understand that something wrong had taken place. She pulled me aside the moment they got back, her eyes wide with concern. "Aunt Jessica, Grandma did something mean to Nathan today." "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "We all went to get ice cream from the truck, and Grandma bought cones for everyone. But when Nathan reached out for his, she pulled it back and said he could not have one because he was too chubby. She said it was not good for him." My heart stopped. "She said that in front of everyone?" "Yeah. All of us were there." Nathan did not say anything. He just stood there while we all ate our ice cream. I tried to share mine with him, but Grandma said no, he did not need it. I felt sick. My 7-year-old son had been publicly humiliated by his own grandmother, singled out from his cousins, told that there was something wrong with his body. And then he had been forced to watch while everyone else enjoyed their treats. "Where is Nathan now?" "He went to his room. He was crying in the car, but he tried to hide it. I do not think Grandma noticed. Or maybe she did notice and did not care. With Gloria, it was hard to tell." I thanked Emma for telling me and went to find my son. Nathan came home that evening different. Quieter than usual, his eyes red-rimmed like he had been crying. He went straight to his room without saying hello, without asking for a snack, without any of the usual post-park excitement that normally bubbled out of him. I found him lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling, his favorite stuffed dinosaur clutched to his chest. The dinosaur was named Rex, and Nathan had slept with him every night since he was 3 years old. He only clutched Rex like that when he was truly upset. "Hey, sweetheart, how was the park?" He did not answer. He just kept staring at the ceiling, his little chest rising and falling with the kind of deep, controlled breathing that children use when they are trying not to cry. "Nathan, what is wrong? Did something happen?" He finally looked at me, and the expression on his face broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. It was shame. Pure, devastating shame, the kind that should never appear on a 7-year-old's face. "Mommy, am I fat?" The question hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "No, sweetheart. Of course not. Why would you ask that?" Grandma said I was too chubby for ice cream. She bought ice cream for everyone except me. She said it was not good for me because I am too heavy. I felt the blood drain from my face. "She said that? In front of everyone?" He nodded, tears finally spilling down his cheeks. "All my cousins got ice cream. Even baby Sophie, and she is only 3. But not me. Grandma said I did not need it. She said I needed to lose weight." I pulled him into my arms, holding him tight, feeling his small body shake with sobs. My mind was racing, trying to process what he was telling me, trying to understand how my mother-in-law could do something so cruel to a child. "Listen to me, Nathan. You are perfect exactly the way you are. There is nothing wrong with your body. Nothing. Grandma was wrong to say those things to you. But she said I was too chubby. She said it in front of everyone. Emma and Tyler and all of them. They all heard. I know, baby. I know. And I am so sorry that happened. But I want you to understand something important. Your body is not something to be ashamed of. You are healthy and strong and wonderful, and anyone who makes you feel bad about yourself is wrong. Do you understand? He nodded, but I could see that my words were not reaching him. The damage had been done. In one careless moment, my mother-in-law had planted a seed of self-doubt in my son's mind that would take years to uproot. "Mommy, I do not want to eat dinner tonight. I am not hungry." Those words sent a chill down my spine. A 7-year-old refusing food because his grandmother told him he was too fat. This was how eating disorders started. This was how body image issues took root. This was how a child learned to hate himself. You need to eat, sweetheart. Your body needs fuel to grow and play and be strong. But what if I get more chubby? Then you will be exactly as chubby as you are supposed to be. Bodies come in all different shapes and sizes, and all of them are good. Your job is not to worry about how your body looks. Your job is to run and play and learn and be a kid. Let me worry about the rest. He ate dinner that night, but only because I sat with him and encouraged every bite. And the whole time, I was planning what I was going to say to my mother-in-law when I got her alone. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Jessica Palmer. I am 31 years old, and I have been married to my husband Ryan for 9 years. We have one child, a wonderful boy named Nathan who is 7 years old. He has sandy brown hair that curls when it gets too long, and green eyes that sparkle when he laughs, and the kind of imagination that turns cardboard boxes into spaceships and backyard trees into enchanted forests. Nathan has always been a sturdy kid. Not overweight, not by any medical standard, but solidly built. He takes after Ryan's side of the family, all of whom are broad-shouldered and muscular. His pediatrician has never expressed any concerns about his weight. His growth charts are perfectly normal. He is healthy, active, and happy. Or at least he was happy, until my mother-in-law decided to comment on his body. My mother-in-law, Gloria Thornton, is a woman obsessed with appearances. She counts every calorie she eats, tracking her food intake in a little notebook she carries everywhere. She exercises religiously, going to the gym at 5 in the morning, 6 days a week. She has had more cosmetic procedures than I can count, Botox and fillers, and lifts that keep her looking 10 years younger than her actual age. And she judges everyone around her by the same impossible standards she holds herself to. Gloria grew up in a family where thinness was next to godliness. Her mother had been a beauty queen in her youth, and she had raised Gloria to believe that a woman's worth was measured in the inches of her waist. Gloria had passed those beliefs on to her own children, though in different ways. Ryan, her son, had escaped relatively unscathed because boys were not held to the same standards. But Amanda, her daughter, had internalized every cruel message about female bodies and had struggled with disordered eating for most of her adult life. I had seen photos of Amanda as a teenager. She had been rail thin, gaunt in a way that looked unhealthy even in pictures. Gloria kept those photos on display in her living room, describing that period as when Amanda had looked her best. She did not seem to realize, or did not want to acknowledge, that Amanda had been starving herself. Now Amanda was in her 30s, had done years of therapy, and had finally made peace with her body. She was no longer thin by Gloria's standards, but she was healthy and happy and no longer counted every calorie or punished herself for eating dessert. Gloria disapproved. She made comments at every family gathering about how Amanda had let herself go, how she used to be so disciplined, how it was a shame she did not take better care of herself. Amanda had learned to tune it out. "That is just how Mom is," she would say with a shrug. "I stopped letting her opinions affect me years ago." But it had taken years of therapy and struggle to get to that point. And now Gloria was starting the same toxic cycle with my son. For years, I had watched her make subtle comments about other people's bodies. A neighbor who had gained weight after pregnancy. A family friend who did not dress appropriately for her size. The waitress at a restaurant who Gloria described as too heavy to be eating that. She would be so pretty if she just lost a few pounds, Gloria would say about Amanda, as if Amanda's worth as a person was determined by the number on a scale. I had always found these comments distasteful, but I had never confronted Gloria about them. They were directed at adults who could, theoretically, defend themselves. I told myself it was not my place to police my mother-in-law's opinions, even when those opinions were shallow and harmful. I told myself that as long as she kept her comments away from Nathan, it was not my battle to fight. But I had been fooling myself. Gloria's worldview did not have exceptions for children. She believed what she believed, and eventually, that belief was going to touch my son. Now it had. And my child was paying the price for my failure to confront it sooner. That night, after Nathan was asleep, I called Gloria. "Jessica, how nice to hear from you. Did Ryan tell you about the wonderful time we had at the park today? The children were so well behaved. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something that happened at the park." "Oh, what is that?" "Nathan told me you refused to buy him ice cream because you said he was too chubby." There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Gloria spoke again, her voice had taken on a defensive edge. "I was just looking out for his health, Jessica. You have to admit, he is getting a little heavy for his age. I thought it would be better for him to skip the treat." "Gloria, he is 7 years old. He watched all of his cousins get ice cream while you told him he was too fat. Do you have any idea how that made him feel?" "I did not say he was fat. I said he was chubby. There is a difference. Not to a 7-year-old. He came home crying. He asked me if he was fat. He did not want to eat dinner because he was afraid of getting more chubby." "Well, that is a bit dramatic. I was just trying to help. Someone needs to teach that boy some discipline around food." I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. Nathan does not have a problem with food. He eats normally for a child his age. His pediatrician has never expressed any concerns about his weight. Pediatricians these days are too afraid to tell parents the truth. They do not want to hurt anyone's feelings. But someone has to look out for these children before they become obese teenagers who cannot fit through doorways. "Gloria, I am going to say this once, and I need you to hear me. You are never ever to comment on Nathan's body again. Not his weight, not his size, not what he eats. If you cannot be around him without making him feel bad about himself, then you will not be around him at all. You are overreacting. It was one ice cream cone. I hardly think that justifies threatening to keep him away from his grandmother. It was not about the ice cream. It was about the message you sent. You told him, in front of all his cousins, that there was something wrong with him. That he was not good enough to deserve the same treats as everyone else. That his body was a problem that needed to be fixed. I was trying to help him. You were not helping him. You were shaming him. And I will not allow it to happen again." Gloria huffed. "Fine. I will keep my opinions to myself from now on. But do not come crying to me when he is a teenager who cannot find clothes that fit." I hung up without saying goodbye. My hands were shaking, and there were tears of rage streaming down my face. How could anyone be so callous? How could a grandmother think it was acceptable to body shame her own grandchild? Ryan came into the room and found me crying. "What happened? Who were you talking to?" I told him everything. Nathan's devastation, Gloria's casual cruelty, the conversation I had just had. Ryan listened, his face growing darker with every word. "She really said he was too chubby for ice cream? In front of everyone?" "Yes. Emma told me first, and then Nathan confirmed it. Your mother looked at our son, told him he was too fat, and refused to give him a treat that she was handing out to all the other grandchildren." Ryan sat down heavily on the couch. "I cannot believe she would do that." "Can you not? She has been making comments about bodies for as long as I have known her. She has been making Amanda feel bad about her weight for decades. Why would you think Nathan was off limits?" Because he is a child. He is 7 years old. You do not say things like that to children. Apparently, Gloria does. Ryan was quiet for a moment, processing. I could see the conflict on his face. He loved his mother, had spent his whole life making excuses for her behavior, had learned early to overlook her flaws in order to maintain peace. But this was his son. This was different. I will talk to her, he finally said. Talking to her did not help when I tried. She thinks she did nothing wrong. Let me try. She is my mother. Maybe she will listen to me. I did not have much hope that Gloria would listen to anyone, but I let Ryan make the call. I listened from the other room as he confronted his mother, his voice rising with frustration as she deflected and minimized and made excuses. Mom, you cannot say things like that to a kid. No, it is not the same as reminding him to eat his vegetables. Because you were talking about his body, not his nutrition. I do not care what you think you were doing, I care about how it affected him. He paced as he talked, his free hand gesturing emphatically even though Gloria could not see him. I heard him try to explain why body shaming was harmful. I heard Gloria dismiss his concerns as oversensitivity. I heard Ryan's voice crack with frustration as he tried to make her understand something she clearly did not want to understand. Mom, he came home crying. He is refusing to eat. He asked his mother if he was fat. Does that sound like he was not affected by what you said? I could not hear Gloria's response, but whatever it was made Ryan's shoulders slump in defeat. Fine. Just, do not say anything like that to him again. Please. That is all I am asking. The conversation went on for almost an hour. By the end, Ryan had extracted a promise from Gloria that she would not comment on Nathan's appearance again. But I could tell from the tone of his voice that he did not believe she would keep that promise any more than I did. Ryan hung up and came to find me in the bedroom. She says she will not do it again, he reported, sounding exhausted. Do you believe her? He was quiet for a long moment. I want to believe her. She is my mother. But... He trailed off. But she has been like this your whole life, and she has never changed before. Maybe this will be different. Maybe knowing she hurt Nathan will be enough to make her think twice. Or maybe she will just be more careful about when she makes her comments. Maybe she will wait until we are not around. What do you want me to do, Jessica? I talked to her. I told her it was wrong. What else can I do? I did not have an answer for that. We could not force Gloria to change. We could only protect Nathan from her as best we could and hope that our interventions would be enough. The next few weeks were difficult. Nathan became obsessed with his body in ways that a 7-year-old should never be. He started asking how many calories were in his food. He would stand in front of the mirror, poking at his stomach, asking if he looked fat. He refused to wear shorts because he said his legs were too chunky. I watched my happy, carefree child transform into an anxious little boy who was convinced there was something wrong with him. And every time I saw him pull at his shirt to hide his stomach, every time I heard him ask if a snack was too fattening, I felt a fresh wave of rage toward Gloria. We took him to a child psychologist who specialized in body image issues. Dr. Melissa Chen was warm and understanding, and she helped us develop strategies for reinforcing positive messages about Nathan's body. The first session was just an assessment. Dr. Chen asked Nathan to draw a picture of himself, and I watched from the observation room as my son drew a round, sad figure with a frown. When she asked him to tell her about the drawing, he said, "That is me. I am fat and ugly." I had to leave the observation room because I was crying too hard to see. Dr. Chen met with Ryan and me afterward to discuss her findings. Nathan is exhibiting early signs of negative body image and disordered thinking about food. The good news is that you caught this early. Children are resilient, and with consistent positive reinforcement, most of the damage can be undone. The bad news is that this kind of message, especially from a trusted family member, can have lasting effects if not addressed properly. How lasting? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Without intervention, children who develop negative body image at this age are at higher risk for eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem throughout adolescence and into adulthood. But with the right support, Nathan can learn to reject these harmful messages and develop a healthy relationship with his body. What do we do? I asked. First, you need to remove the source of the negative messages. If Nathan's grandmother continues to make comments about his body, even subtle ones, it will undermine all the work you are doing at home. We have already talked to her about it. Talking may not be enough. You may need to limit her access to Nathan until she can demonstrate that she understands the harm she has caused and is committed to changing her behavior. You mean keep him away from his grandmother? I mean protect your child from someone who is hurting him. If this were a stranger making these comments, you would not hesitate to keep Nathan away from them. The fact that it is family does not make the harm any less real. We started bringing Nathan to see Dr. Chen once a week. The sessions focused on building his self-esteem, teaching him to recognize and reject negative thoughts about his body, and giving him tools to cope when those thoughts arose. Dr. Chen used play therapy, art therapy, and lots of conversations about how bodies come in all different shapes and sizes. She had Nathan look at pictures of different body types and practice saying positive things about each one. She taught him affirmations like, "My body is strong," and "I am perfect just the way I am." At home, we implemented changes too. We stopped using words like diet or weight in front of Nathan. We focused on eating for energy and enjoyment rather than for weight management. We praised Nathan for what his body could do rather than how it looked. "You are such a fast runner," I would tell him after soccer practice. "Your legs are so strong." "Look at how high you can climb," Ryan would say when Nathan made it to the top of the jungle gym. "Your arms must be really powerful." Slowly, the therapy began to work. Nathan's drawings of himself became less sad, less round, more like an actual child and less like a caricature of fatness. He stopped asking about calories. He started eating without anxiety. He began to smile again. But healing was not linear. Some days were better than others. Some days, Nathan would come home from school upset because someone had mentioned weight or a classmate had made a joke about fat people. Some days, he would revert to old anxious patterns, refusing dessert or staring at himself in the mirror with that critical expression. On those days, I would hold him and remind him of everything Dr. Chen had taught us. I would tell him that his body was good, that he was loved, that nothing anyone said about his appearance could change his worth as a person. And I would silently curse Gloria for putting us in this position, for making my child need therapy at 7 years old. For planting seeds of self-doubt that might take years to fully uproot. Dr. Chen's words stayed with me. She was right. If a teacher or a coach or a random person at the park had said those things to Nathan, I would have been furious. I would have reported them, complained, done everything in my power to ensure they never had access to my child again. But because it was Gloria, because she was family, I had been willing to give her a second chance. To hope that a conversation would be enough. To prioritize family harmony over my son's mental health. No more. Nathan's well-being was more important than Gloria's feelings. It was more important than keeping the peace. It was more important than anything. I called Gloria the next day. "I have been thinking about what happened at the park, and I have made a decision. Until you can demonstrate that you understand why what you did was harmful, and until you can commit to never commenting on Nathan's body again, you will not be spending time with him unsupervised." That is ridiculous. I am his grandmother. Being a grandmother is a privilege, not a right. And right now, you are using that privilege to hurt him. I was trying to help him. You were not helping. You were shaming. And I have spent the last 2 weeks trying to undo the damage you caused. Nathan is seeing a therapist now, Gloria. A therapist. Because his grandmother told him he was too fat for ice cream. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I could not tell if Gloria was processing what I had said or preparing her next defense. A therapist seems like an overreaction. It is not an overreaction. It is what our pediatrician recommended when Nathan started refusing to eat because he was afraid of getting fatter. He stopped eating? Not completely. But he started asking about calories. He started pinching his stomach in the mirror. He started saying he was ugly and fat. He is 7 years old, Gloria. 7. And he is already worried that his body is not good enough. For the first time, I heard something like doubt in Gloria's voice. I did not mean for that to happen. But it did happen. And it happened because you decided that your opinions about Nathan's body were more important than his feelings. I worry about him. Childhood obesity is a real problem. I see these children who cannot run or play because they are so overweight, and I do not want that for Nathan. Nathan can run and play just fine. He plays soccer. He rides his bike. He climbs trees and swims and does everything a healthy 7-year-old should do. His doctor says he is perfectly healthy. Your concern is not based on reality, Gloria. It is based on your obsession with how people look. That is not fair. Maybe not, but it is true. You have spent your whole life judging people by their appearance. Your neighbors, your friends, even Amanda. And now you are doing it to your grandchildren. Gloria was quiet for a long moment. I have never said anything about the other grandchildren. Because they are thin. Sophie is thin. Tyler is thin. Emma is thin. Nathan is the only one who does not fit your idea of what a child should look like, so he is the only one you shame. I do not shame him. You refused to buy him ice cream in front of all his cousins because you said he was too chubby. What would you call that? Gloria did not have an answer. For once, she did not have a defense or a deflection or an excuse. She just sat with the weight of what she had done. I need you to understand something, I continued. This is not about ice cream. This is about the message you are sending to a child who trusts you. Every time you comment on his body, every time you suggest there is something wrong with him, you are teaching him that he is not good enough. You are teaching him that his worth is determined by his appearance. Is that really the lesson you want to pass on to your grandson? No. Of course not. Then you need to change. Really change, not just say you will do better and then slip back into old habits. Nathan needs to know that his grandmother loves him exactly as he is, not as she wishes he would be. I do love him. Then show him. Show him by never mentioning his weight again. Show him by buying him ice cream with his cousins instead of singling him out. Show him by complimenting his kindness and his creativity and his sense of humor instead of scrutinizing his body. Gloria agreed to try. She apologized, in her own way, and promised to be more mindful of what she said around Nathan. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that this conversation had been a turning point, that Gloria finally understood the harm she had caused. But I did not trust her. Not completely. So I implemented a new rule. Gloria was not allowed to be alone with Nathan. Every interaction would be supervised by me or Ryan. If she made any comments about his body, the visit would end immediately and her access would be restricted further. Gloria was not happy about this arrangement. She complained that I was treating her like a criminal, that I was being paranoid, that she had apologized and should be given another chance. You are getting another chance, I told her. Supervised visits are another chance. No visits at all would be what you deserve. This is humiliating. How do you think it makes me feel to have my own daughter-in-law monitoring my every word? How do you think it made Nathan feel to be publicly shamed in front of his cousins? To be told he was too fat for ice cream? To watch everyone else enjoy their treats while he stood there empty-handed? Gloria did not have a response to that. She accepted the supervised visits, though not gracefully. The first supervised visit was awkward. We went to the park, the same park where the ice cream incident had happened. I wanted to reclaim that space for Nathan, to give him a new, positive memory to replace the painful one. Gloria was stiff and careful, clearly resentful of being monitored. She kept shooting me looks, as if I was the one who had done something wrong. Nathan was hesitant around her, keeping his distance, watching her warily like she might say something hurtful at any moment. But I had prepared Nathan for this visit. We had talked about what to do if Grandma said anything about his body. We had practiced responses. We had established a code word he could use if he felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave. Remember, I had told him, you do not have to hug or talk to anyone who makes you feel bad. Not even family. Your feelings are important, and you are allowed to protect them. An hour into the visit, the ice cream truck came by. I saw Gloria stiffen. I saw Nathan freeze. This was the moment of truth. I pulled out my wallet. Who wants ice cream? Nathan, what flavor would you like? Chocolate, he said quietly, looking at Gloria as if expecting her to object. Chocolate sounds perfect. Gloria, would you like anything? Gloria hesitated. I could see the internal struggle playing out on her face. Her instinct to comment, to restrict, to judge, warring with her desire to maintain access to her grandson. I will have a small vanilla, she finally said. I bought ice cream for everyone. I handed Nathan his chocolate cone and watched as he took his first lick, his eyes still on his grandmother. Gloria did not say a word about his choice. She did not comment on the size of his portion or the calories in chocolate ice cream. She just ate her own cone and watched the children play. After that visit, Nathan told me he thought Grandma was trying to be nicer. She did not say anything mean about my ice cream, he said. Maybe she is sorry for what she did before. Maybe she is, I agreed. Let us see how she does over time. The supervised visits continued weekly for 3 months. Each time, I watched Gloria carefully, looking for any sign of backsliding, any subtle comment or disapproving look that might hurt Nathan. She slipped a few times. Once, when Nathan asked for seconds at dinner, I saw her eyebrows rise slightly before she caught herself. Once, when he was running around the yard, she started to say something about him being out of breath, then stopped mid-sentence. Each time, I called her out quietly, away from Nathan. I saw that, I would say. Remember our agreement. She would apologize, her face flushed with embarrassment or resentment, I was never sure which. But she would correct herself, and the visits would continue. Gradually, over the course of the afternoon, things began to thaw. Gloria complimented Nathan on his Lego creation. She asked about his favorite video games. She listened while he explained in great detail the plot of the book he was reading for school. She did not mention his body. She did not comment on his snacks. She was just a grandmother spending time with her grandson. At the end of the visit, Nathan gave her a hug. A real hug, not the obligatory kind he had been giving her since the ice cream incident. Gloria looked at me over his head, and I saw tears in her eyes. Thank you for giving me another chance, she said quietly. Do not waste it. Over the following months, Gloria slowly earned back our trust. The supervised visits continued, but they became more relaxed as it became clear that she was genuinely trying to change. She never mentioned Nathan's weight. She bought him ice cream when they went to the park, the same flavor and size as his cousins. She started focusing on who he was rather than how he looked. It was not a perfect transformation. Old habits die hard, and occasionally Gloria would catch herself about to say something problematic and have to stop mid-sentence. But she was trying. She was genuinely trying, and that made all the difference. Nathan, meanwhile, was healing. The therapy sessions helped him understand that his grandmother's comments were wrong, that there was nothing wrong with his body, that he was perfect exactly as he was. He stopped asking about calories. He stopped scrutinizing himself in the mirror. He started wearing shorts again. One day, about 6 months after the ice cream incident, he came home from school and told me that a classmate had called another kid fat on the playground. "It was really mean, Mommy. It made the kid cry." He ran off and hid behind the slide and would not come out. "That is mean. How did it make you feel when you heard it?" "Mad, really mad. Because it is not nice to say things about people's bodies. It hurts their feelings. And it is not even true, because all bodies are good bodies, right? That is what Dr. Chen says." "Dr. Chen is right. What did you do?" "I told the mean kid to stop. I said that bodies are not something to make fun of. I said that making fun of someone's body says more about you than it does about them." "Where did you learn that?" "You told me that, Mommy, after what Grandma said. You said that when people make mean comments about bodies, it is because they have problems, not because there is anything wrong with the person they are talking about." I felt tears prick my eyes. I had said that. During one of our many conversations about what Gloria had done, I had tried to help Nathan understand that the problem was with Gloria, not with him. "And then I asked the other kid if he wanted to play soccer with me," Nathan continued. "I told him I thought he was cool and I did not care what the mean kid said." "What did he say?" "He said okay. So we played soccer for the rest of recess. His name is Marcus. He is really good at goalie." I pulled Nathan into a hug, holding him tight, feeling my heart swell with pride and relief. My 7-year-old son, who had been devastated by body shaming just 6 months ago, was now standing up for other kids who were being treated the same way. "I am so proud of you, Nathan. That was a very kind and brave thing to do. I know how it feels when someone says mean things about your body. I did not want him to feel that way." "Did the mean kid say anything to you?" "He tried to. He said I was fat too. But I just said that was his opinion and I did not care. And then I walked away. That was growth. That was healing. That was my son taking the worst experience of his young life and transforming it into something powerful. Instead of letting Gloria's cruelty break him, he had used it to develop empathy and courage and the willingness to stand up for others. He had taken his pain and transformed it into compassion. He had learned from what Gloria had done to him, but he had learned the opposite lesson from the one she had tried to teach. Instead of believing that bodies should be judged and criticized, he had learned that all bodies deserve respect. Instead of internalizing shame, he had developed the confidence to reject it. That was the moment I knew we were going to be okay. Nathan had not just survived Gloria's cruelty. He had grown stronger because of it. He had developed empathy and courage and the willingness to stand up for others. Marcus, the boy Nathan defended that day, became one of his best friends. His mother called me a week later to thank me. I do not know what Nathan said to Marcus, but he has been so much happier since that day at the playground. He talks about Nathan all the time. He says Nathan is the nicest kid in his class. "Nathan is a good kid," I said, my heart full. "He has been through some stuff with body image himself. I think that helped him understand what Marcus was feeling." Whatever you are doing as a parent, keep doing it. We need more kids like Nathan in the world. Gloria, to her credit, continued to improve. By the time a year had passed since the ice cream incident, I trusted her enough to allow unsupervised visits again. Not because I believed she had completely overcome her obsession with appearances, but because I believed she loved Nathan enough to control it around him. She proved me right. The unsupervised visits went smoothly. Nathan came home from them happy and secure, talking about all the fun things he and Grandma had done together. There were no comments about his body, no attempts to restrict his food, no subtle shaming disguised as concern for his health. Gloria and I would never be close. The ice cream incident had revealed something about her character that I could not unsee. But we had found a way to coexist, to work together for Nathan's benefit, to be civil even when we disagreed. And Nathan had learned something important. He had learned that sometimes the people who are supposed to love us hurt us instead. He had learned that he was allowed to set boundaries, to protect himself, to demand better treatment. He had learned that his mother would always fight for him, even against family, even when it was hard. Those were lessons that would serve him well for the rest of his life. Nathan is 9 years old now. He is still a sturdy kid, still built like his father's side of the family, still perfectly healthy according to every medical measure that matters. He plays soccer and rides his bike and swims in the summer, and he eats ice cream without a second thought. The therapy sessions ended about a year ago. Dr. Chen said Nathan had made excellent progress and no longer needed regular appointments. We still check in with her occasionally, just to make sure everything is still on track, but Nathan is thriving. The anxious little boy who was afraid of calories and convinced his body was wrong has been replaced by a confident kid who loves his body for what it can do. He does not remember the ice cream incident with the same intensity he felt when it happened. Time has softened the edges of that memory, turned it into something he can talk about without pain. When the topic comes up, he says, "Grandma used to say mean things about my body, but she does not do that anymore. She learned it was wrong." He has forgiven her. Children have an enormous capacity for forgiveness when the adults in their lives show genuine change. Gloria worked hard to earn that forgiveness, and Nathan gave it freely. But I have not forgotten. I remember every tear Nathan cried, every anxious question about calories, every moment he spent pinching his stomach in the mirror. I remember how close we came to something much worse, how easily that one cruel comment could have spiraled into a full-blown eating disorder. I remember the drawing he made in his first therapy session, the round, sad figure that he said was him because he was fat and ugly. I keep that drawing in a locked drawer in my desk, not to punish myself, but to remind myself why vigilance matters. Why I can never let my guard down completely, no matter how much Gloria seems to have changed. I watch Gloria carefully now. I notice when her eyes linger too long on someone's body, when her lips press together in disapproval at someone's size. I know she still thinks these things, even if she no longer says them out loud. Her obsession with appearance has not disappeared. She has just learned to hide it better. Her relationship with Amanda has improved somewhat. Gloria no longer makes comments about Amanda's weight, at least not when I am around. Amanda says her mother has been different, more careful, since the Nathan incident. Maybe seeing how much she hurt her grandson made her reconsider some of her beliefs. Or maybe she is just afraid of losing access to Nathan again. Either way, the overt body shaming has stopped. And that is something. And I am always ready. If she ever slips, if she ever makes another comment about Nathan's body, I will be there to shut it down immediately. I will protect my son from her judgment, no matter how many years pass, no matter how much she seems to have changed. Ryan has grown too. He finally sees his mother clearly, sees the harmful patterns she instilled in him and his sister. He is in therapy himself now, working through his own relationship with food and body image. He has told me that he never realized how much his mother's attitudes affected him until he saw them affecting his son. "I thought it was normal," he said one night. "I thought everyone's mother made comments about their weight. I thought that was just what families did." It took seeing Nathan hurt to understand that it was never okay. That is what being a mother means. It means standing guard. It means watching for threats, even from unexpected sources. It means being willing to challenge family members, to create conflict, to be the bad guy if necessary, all in service of protecting your child. Some people might think I overreacted to the ice cream incident. One comment, they might say. One moment of poor judgment. Was it really worth all the drama, all the therapy, all the supervised visits and difficult conversations? Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because that one comment could have defined how Nathan saw himself for the rest of his life. That one moment could have planted seeds of self-hatred that would have blossomed into years of disordered eating, poor body image, and diminished self-worth. Research shows that body-shaming comments from family members, especially during childhood, can have effects that last decades. I was not willing to take that chance. I was not willing to sacrifice my son's mental health on the altar of family harmony. I was not willing to let Gloria's opinions about bodies go unchallenged just because she was my husband's mother. I was not willing to wait and see if Nathan would get over it on his own. Nathan deserved better. He deserved a mother who would fight for him, who would stand up against anyone who tried to make him feel less than, who would teach him that his body was worthy of love and respect. That is the mother I chose to be. And I would make the same choice again without hesitation. A few months ago, Nathan came home from school with a permission slip for a nutrition education program. The school was partnering with a local health organization to teach kids about healthy eating habits. I hesitated before signing it. After everything we had been through, I was wary of anything that might make Nathan anxious about food again. But I looked at the curriculum, talked to his teacher, and ultimately decided it was a good thing. The program focused on nourishing bodies, on eating a variety of foods, on enjoying treats in moderation. It was not about restriction or shame or counting calories. Nathan came home from the first session excited. "Mommy, did you know that all foods can be part of a healthy diet? Even ice cream." The teacher said that no food is bad, we just need to eat lots of different things. "That is right, sweetheart. What else did you learn?" She said our bodies are amazing because they can use all kinds of foods to help us grow and play and think. And she said we should never feel bad about eating, because eating is how we take care of ourselves. I smiled, thinking about how different this message was from the one Gloria had given him 2 years ago. How far we had come from the little boy who was afraid of calories, who thought his body was a problem to be fixed. That sounds like a great program. I am glad you are enjoying it. "Mommy, can we have ice cream for dessert tonight?" "Absolutely, sweetheart. What flavor do you want?" "Chocolate. With sprinkles. And extra whipped cream." I made him the biggest ice cream sundae I could manage, piled high with all the toppings he loved. Chocolate ice cream in a tall glass, covered in chocolate syrup and whipped cream and sprinkles and a cherry on top. I handed it to him with a flourish, like I was presenting a trophy. "This is amazing, Mommy." He dug in with enthusiasm, getting chocolate on his face almost immediately. "You deserve it, sweetheart. You had a great week at school and you are learning so much. I am proud of you." Dr. Chen would say this is intuitive eating, he said between bites. Eating what you want because you want it, not because you are supposed to or not supposed to. Dr. Chen would be right. I am glad I do not have to go to therapy anymore. But I am also glad I went. She taught me a lot of good stuff. What was the most important thing she taught you? Nathan thought about it for a moment, his spoon paused halfway to his mouth. That my body is not the most important thing about me. My kindness is more important. My brain is more important. How I treat other people is more important. My body is just the thing that lets me do all the other stuff. I had to turn away for a moment because I was crying. Happy tears, grateful tears, tears of relief that my son had absorbed such a healthy message despite what his grandmother had tried to teach him. He ate every bite of that sundae, laughing and getting chocolate on his face, enjoying every moment without a single anxious thought about what it might do to his body. That was my revenge on Gloria. Not anger or confrontation or cutting her out of our lives forever. Just a happy, healthy child eating ice cream without shame. Just a boy who knew his body was good, who trusted himself around food, who had been protected from the toxic messages that could have destroyed his relationship with eating. Every bite Nathan took was proof that Gloria had not won. Every smile, every laugh, every moment of pure enjoyment was a victory against the culture of body shame that Gloria represented. And I was there to witness it all. His mother. His protector. The one who would always, always buy him ice cream. Thank you for listening to my journey of discovering what motherhood truly means. I have left 2 more stories on your screen, each from mothers who learned that protecting a child can mean standing alone against those once called family. Choose the one that speaks to you. And if you want to join a community of parents who fight for their children, that notification bell is waiting. Until tomorrow, remember, blood connects us, but a mother's love protects us.